Hello. I can see Frauder, hello. Salty and Spooky Boy, hello. Congrats on getting the role. I already saw in the server that you got it. At least I'm pretty sure you posted about it in the server, right? That's amazing. Just dropping by to say hi. Hello. I hope you've been doing well. Oh my god. I need to rant again. Blueprints, it's pissing me off. I was one gem short of being able to do the thing I wanted to do. I've been on this for days. You're running on two. Go bed. Go bed. Tis PMO, exactly. No sleep, only snow stream? No! That's not how it works. Anyways, we're back with good old Paranormasight. And we got some pretty interesting stuff going for... See? We got some pretty interesting stuff going for us. It sounds like a skill issue. God... Look at the interesting thing we have going on for us. Beautiful, beautiful man. Right? He's really handsome. You can see the sea from here all the way to Kamishima. Do you see anything out there, Soto? Yes, I do. The waters south of Kamishima are saturated with the powerful presence of the curse of the raging waves. A dishwash lurk before you get ready. All right. I can sense it even from this distance. That is how strong it is. Is that so? Looking out to sea, I can't see a thing. I just hope this means we've made it in time. Even during the disaster 5 years ago, the energy was never this overwhelming. The seal has broken. There's no doubt about it. So it's already broken. That isn't good. The sea still seems calm, though. Does the storm not break out immediately? Yes. Something seems to be holding it back for now. Oh, so there's a silver lining at least. It seems stable for the moment. We probably have 2 or 3 days of safety. Then we got a bit of breathing room. Perhaps there's still something we can do. I am concerned about the curse of the raging waves, but without knowing how to lift it, there's not much we can do right now. Having 2 or 3 days does give us some leeway. We can focus on this incident for now while looking for a way to lift the curse. I hope we can do something about the curse of the raging waves while it's still being held back. Yes, but despite all efforts, we still haven't found a way to lift the curse. We might have quite a struggle ahead of us. That's really the heart of the problem, isn't it? And we have no idea where your ancestors' keepsake is either. Ugh, I apologize on behalf of my family. love whatever the music's doing right now. The random. Ma'am, behind you. Behind me? Oh, why? Don't do this to me. Oh. Well, she looks familiar. That is definitely a ghost. Who's that? Just someone from town passing by. Oh, that's the woman who died. The corpse that we looked at. That's literally the corpse that we found. Oh, she bolted. Soto, after her. On it. Hey, stop. Oh. Mao. Hello. Let me go. I didn't do nothing wrong. I've apprehended the suspect. Good work. Sorry for the rough handling. Mind helping us out a bit? What were you doing here? Why did you run? What? Don't get smart with me. You're the suspicious ones, sneaking around and poking into things. You think folks won't be wary with shady types like you wandering through town? Ah, I see. Sorry if we gave you a scare. We're with the police. Nothing shady here. You're with the police? Seriously? You heard about the skeletal remains found nearby, yes? That's what we're looking into. You don't look like police. Say, do you live around here? There's something I'd like you to take a quick look at. Do you recognize this face at all? We believe he may have been around here about 6 years ago. Huh? No, don't know him. I see. Then could you point us in the direction of someone who might know about people coming and going in town? No idea. Ask whoever you want. Can I go now? I've got nothing to do with this. Don't know a thing. Alright, sorry for holding you up. Well, I clearly don't trust that. What a peculiar woman. It was like her mind was somewhere else entirely. Well, either way, we should talk to more people in town. Agreed. Also, could you ask around and find out who that woman is? Of course. She also kind of... She kind of looks like, Nah, actually, she looks older. Mao. Ma'am, I've learned a few things. Excellent. Let's hear it. Okay, she's not here anymore. The port and town center are down that way, so this area is technically the outskirts. It's a quiet town, so a stranger loitering here would definitely attract attention. That's a good point. Oh, there's the sticker. Hey. We're split up to ask around town. We split up. But all the leads I found didn't actually lead anywhere. I'm just not cut out for this kind of legwork. I still don't know what this is about. Oh. It's to find the birds easily? That's kind of funny. He didn't so much as flinch at the thought of tedious door-to-door investigation. Not to mention he's good at it. Having him here is a huge help. I showed the sketch of the victim to several townsfolk. However, it would seem that no one here recognized him at all. Unfortunate. I suppose chances are he wasn't from this area to begin with. Guess we'll have to place our hopes on Detective Ide then. You don't suppose we might be working with a bad sketch here? You needn't worry about that. I am confident in the likeness. It should be a near-perfect match. You're right. I'm sure it's close. Sorry for doubting you. I also asked around the woman we encountered earlier. Apparently, she isn't originally from this town. Oh, is that so? Indeed. Apparently she wandered into town about 5 years ago. She's been living alone in a cheap rental apartment on the outskirts of town ever since. When she first arrived, she had nothing but an old wooden box, which she was clutching as if it were very dear to her. Hi, Harlow! Nothing but an old wooden box. Supposedly, she used to work as an ama diver. Around when she first moved here, she'd occasionally go diving for fish. But these days, she keeps to herself and no one ever sees her diving anymore. No one really knows how she supports herself, and many of the islanders find her unsettling. Perhaps she fled from something and moved her life here. That was suggested, yes. But she's never spoken about her past, so no one knows for sure. Although, according to her landlord, she's never been late on rent. And she's never caused any problems either. Still, it seems odd she'd get so worked up about strangers coming to town. Doesn't seem like she's in any position to be worrying about that. You think she might be hiding something? It's possible. Her attitude changed the moment we said we were with the police. Perhaps she was keeping watch over the coast where the bodies were dumped, waiting to see if someone showed up. Right. I mean, the most recent body is from 6 years ago, and she arrived in town 5 years back. The timing is rather suspicious when you look at it. We'd best keep an eye on her. Agreed. Were you able to get her name? Apparently her last name is Somakawa, but I didn't manage to get her first name. Yeah, Somakawa. And she died. I feel like there was some stuff about her at some point. Somekawa. Okay, so Osato, we know that. Now it's Sobae, Nagame, and Hayase. I feel like we have seen the name Somekawa before. It is me who is live. Thank you for the compliment. That's really sweet. Okay, I don't know where to look for that. Oh well. Somikawa? Why does that name sound so familiar? That's what I'm saying. You've heard it before? I think so, but I can't quite remember where. Same. But I'm a woman who cast off her past long ago. I guess I shouldn't let it bother me. Not this again. Let's leave any time-consuming background checks to Detective Ide. Check profiles again. Somekawa. Somekawa. Hey, wait. Is Tetsuo Tsutsumi from the past game? Oh no. Yeah, I know that there's been, I know that there's been some stuff regarding the snow. You said check profiles again, but I'm not seeing anything. Shotaro. Shinobu. Tsukasa.
I'm Diana Venecia, your local cosmetologist.
Thank you. Very well. I'll inform him. Oh, hello. You too, hello. Mao. Mao. Okay. Somikawa. Female, unknown. A woman living in Toba, although she occasionally does work as an diver. It is unclear who she is and where she came from. She apparently showed up in Toba about 5 years ago with nothing but a grubby wooden box to her name, and has been living there ever since. So, this means the woman might have been marking us since we got here. Marking. There was a thing about marking. That's the thing in Sato's thing, like what marks everyone. Somikawa question mark? It's possible. I apologize for not noticing sooner. Even a moment's lapse can expose one to a curse. I was careless, but I won't let it happen again. You can be cursed that easily. That's terrifying. What a world we live in. That concludes all the information I gathered from my inquiries. That helps a lot, thanks. Shall I summarize our next steps? Yes, I suppose we need to do something about all this. Let's see. Regarding the unidentified skeletons, until we can identify the victim from the sketch, we have no other leads to move forward. I believe this is best left in Detective Ida's hands. Yes, agreed. And I think the same goes for that Somakawa woman from earlier. We'll have Detective Ida look into her. It's nice to have someone we can rely on. Agreed on that end too. In other words, we can safely leave the skeleton case to him for now. Yes, though we should remain vigilant regarding the curse stones. Regarding our main objective, or the so-called Curse of the Raging Waves. Without knowing how to lift it, there's not much we can do right now. I don't suppose there's a chance you'd be able to break the curse using brute force? You're quite good at that. It's certainly an option if worst comes to worst, but I can't say I have high hopes it would work. I guess it would be more realistic to try and find some clues about the whereabouts of your ancestors' keepsake instead. Indeed, it is said that Ida may hold the key to lifting the curse of the raging waves. But even the location of the map pointing to that keepsake has unfortunately been lost to time. Although, the map was said to be hidden inside a model of a mermaid mummy. One rumor says it was sold overseas during the Edo period. Doesn't sound promising. If we can't find it, I guess we're back to trying to break the curse with brute force. But to even consider that route, we need much more intel from the island. Which is why we need to head to Kamishima. And at the very least, advise the locals to evacuate. Yes. Hopefully someone of influence there will believe us about the curse of the raging waves. Is something wrong? No. It's just that one of the islanders I spoke with seems to be calling me over. Something may have happened. I'll go find out. Please do. Ma'am? What was it? The person who called me over shared a new piece of information. They were told to keep it secret, but opened up since we're with the police. Go on. Earlier this morning, down by the shore, they apparently found something that resembled the corpse of a mermaid. A mermaid, really? That same person reported it to a local authority, and was immediately ordered to tell no one, not even the police. You are kidding me. That local authority then contacted an unknown individual. Soon after, someone came and secretly retrieved the mermaid corpse. That couldn't be more suspicious, could it? Exactly. They were uneasy about the whole thing, which is why they confided in me. What shall we do? Hold on. Okay. Did they describe what the mermaid looked like? Yes. They said from the head to shoulders it was human, but below that entirely fish. So it was not the classic mermaid from fairy tales, it would seem. Only the head was human. They also said it was completely dried out, almost mummified. The face was unrecognizable. But they thought it resembled a local ama diver named Tamiko Suma. Tamiko Suma. Don't recognize that name either. What? Apparently, she went out diving alone this morning and hasn't returned. That's likely what worried the witness the most. That is troubling. Damn it, just what we needed. More things to deal with. First things first, let's deal with this mermaid story. Come on. All right. Oh. Well, that guy looks like Uncle Kudono, if anything. A mermaid corpse has been discovered on the beach near Ijika town. While Yumiko and her partner are investigating its whereabouts, they run into an important local figure. Yamashina. Mr. Yamashina. I feel like we heard that name before too. Mr. Yamashina, thank you for agreeing to meet with us on such short notice. I understand you're a busy man. Not like I have much choice when it's a bigwig from the prefectural police badgering me to do so. So, you're Shiki from the Tokyo Metropolitan Police Department, Security Division, was it? Ha, and here I thought you were just some housemaid. You sure you're from the police in that getup? Well, I am primarily a housewife by trade, but that's hardly important right now. You're also known as... I knew it! I knew it! You're also known as Unka Kudono, I believe. After hearing so many rumors, it's an honor to make your acquaintance. Rumors, eh? Alright. 70 years old, occupation tycoon. Wait, what's a tycoon? Tycoon job. Controls, owns, or holds a dominant stake in a major firm or industry. Okay. Like roller coaster tycoon. A wealthy tycoon who owns multiple companies and swaths of land, particularly in the Tsu and Ise areas, born in the Taisho period unmarried. His family first came into business in the Edo period, traveling from town, selling talismans, miscanthus reed hoops, and other items to ward off evil spirits. During the Meiji period, this business expanded into trading company, and the Yamashina family became prominent contributors to the development of the region. Born to the heir of the Yamashima family business and the daughter of a noble family, Yoshiatsu grew up in an affluent environment where he received a thorough education tailored to gifted children. Following the end of the war, Yoshiatsu inherited the company assets in his 30s, but was quick to sell off all the shares he owned, using the proceeds to buy and sell real estate and stocks, a practice that made him extremely wealthy. After amassing his fortune, he showed a keen interest in investing in ambitious young people, actively mentoring those he took a particular liking to. This approach led to the emergence of many successful businessmen, which included Shinobu Wakamura of Kamishima. Those who have received Yamashina's support view him with both gratitude and a sense of awe bordering on reverence, referring to him as Unka Kudono, a title that evokes a figure elevated above the clouds. But he seems like a nice guy. I don't think he would cut people open, but you know, you never know. Yamashina has always shown a strong attachment to wealth, even going so far as to partake in illicit activities such as illegal donations, tax evasion, insider trading, and media control, all in an effort to garner even more status and money. In the shadow of the many success stories enabled by his support, many more of his beneficiaries have fallen into bankruptcy or have been arrested, fueling endless unsavory rumors about him to this day. Yamashina himself, however, seems to be unconcerned by these rumors, considering anything that does not directly harm him to be beneath his notice. Even if, as a lifelong bachelor, he has surrounded himself with many followers, both publicly and privately, and has never lacked for anything to satisfy his personal needs. A few years ago, he began to seriously consider the issue of a successor, driven by his determination that his beloved fortune should never fall into the hands of someone untrustworthy. Perhaps for this reason, he began to develop a keen fascination with immortality around the same time, and is said to be secretly investing vast amounts of money into research on the topic. Okay, that part makes sense. Yes, I hear you've been doing some under-the-table research into immortality. And so what if I am? Well now, I wouldn't have expected you to be such a dreamer, but it does make you just a bit more relatable. You can laugh all you want. What has it got to do with the police anyway? It seems, on this particular occasion, it has quite a bit to do with the police, unfortunately. You don't say. Hey, there we go. Number 9. Hold on. I'm sorry, what? The relationship chart? What? Discovering a mermaid. Oh. Kikuko's reward on the seabed. On the seabed. On the seabed, on the seabed. Okay. These splendid gardens all fall within the grounds of Mr. Yamashima's Isa's city estate. Part of me wonders why he needs so much space when he doesn't have a family, but I suppose he has an image to maintain. People like Yamashima have a tendency to underestimate me whenever I meet with them alone. Having someone intimidating like Soto with me gets them to take me more seriously. I'm glad he's here with me today. I'm glad you're here with me too, man. I'm amazed we were able to get an appointment with him this quickly. Yes, and all thanks to Detective Ide. It would seem he's quite the capable fellow. This is Yoshiatsu Yamashina. He's a tycoon with multiple properties and companies to his name, mostly based here in Isashima. He's long been rumored of being involved in various shady dealings. Special Investigations has had an eye on him for a while now, but they haven't managed to find any concrete evidence so far. It seems he has a knack for pinning the blame on his subordinates before finding a way to slip away. Needless to say, he and the police are quite familiar with each other by this point. Though I don't doubt he has local police chiefs and politicians under his thumb behind the scenes. There's no need for me to get involved in all that. I'll be satisfied as long as I get the information we need from him. After looking into the corpse of the mermaid found earlier this morning, it seems highly likely it was taken into the custody of Mr. Yamashina here. He is quite the big shot around here, with plenty of weight to throw around both politically and financially. Of course, all the local police know of him and his moniker, Unka Kudano. We had to get one of the higher-ups to act as an intermediary to even get a meeting with him. Personally, I'm happy as long as we can get the mermaid corpse back from him. Although, I certainly won't complain if he can tell us anything about the curse as well. I hear he's quite the curmudgeon, so we'll have to watch our step when dealing with him. Apparently he wears that crested hakama every day. Not exactly casual wear for most people. Wearing something like that in this summer heat, that's commitment to keeping up appearances. I'll get straight to the point. I believe you took a mermaid corpse into your possession this morning. What? That corpse is linked to an ongoing case. We came here to ask you to release it into police custody. Huh. No idea what you're on about. Of course, you will get something in return. We have some information I'm sure you'll find quite profitable in exchange. Like I said, no idea what you're on about. If that's all you came here for, then scram. Oh, pity. I really thought you'd be interested in what we had to share. Assuming you really are interested in immortality. Huh? Well, I suppose we barely know each other. It's only natural you'd be wary of our intentions. What do you say to a little chat to get to know each other better, Mr. Unkakudano? I hear you've been putting quite a bit of effort into training up the younger generation recently. What's your take on today's youth? Useless, a lot of them. Bunch of pushovers that have let all this new generation tribe go to their heads. We're the ones who built this country back up after the war. But they're out of here strutting around like they own the place. Far too big for their britches. My, what a scathing review. Would our resident member of the new generation like to comment at all? Please don't call me that. I hear you've been searching for a successor, though. Given your strong opinions on the matter, I take it you're struggling. Though I can see why that would lead to a desire for immortality. After all, there's no need to cede your legacy to someone else if you can remain at the reins yourself, Huh, that might have been true when I started my research. Oh, I take it that isn't the case now? I'm no spring chicken. The thought of living for hundreds of years like this ain't exactly appealing anymore. Don't see much point in immortality if I'm already long past my prime. Well, that certainly is different from the rumors. My apologies for jumping to conclusions. You have my wholehearted agreement that immortality doesn't necessarily bring happiness, though. Let me clear up one more thing while we're at it. I've already decided on my successor. Oh? Turns out the perfect candidate was right under my nose the entire time. Wakamura? Haven't told them yet, but they're a sharp one. They'll do a fine job. Is that so? I'm glad to hear it. Or like the assassin. Still don't know who it is. I suppose that would mean that you no longer have any need for immortality then. Huh. Who said I wasn't still interested? It simply has nothing to do with my successor. I still intend on continuing my research. For medical advancement, you understand. Think of it as doing my bit for society. You lot are always quick to assume the worst of whatever I do. How about you mind your own business for a change? Well, there's not much we can say to that. We'll try to be more discerning from now on. I've already chosen my successor. No need to harp about it anymore. Already written up my will and passed it off to my lawyer. You be sure to let your friends at the police know too. Okay. By the way, you're obviously not some run-of-the-mill cop. Who are you? Why, I believe I mentioned it when I introduced myself. I'm just a simple housewife. A likely tale. Plus, that fellow next to you has also got a strange air about him. He's no ordinary person, is he? My, how observant of you. I suppose you could say that, yes. Ha! Doesn't take a genius to see it. One of them phony psychic types, are you? Phony? Ha ha ha! Hit a nerve, did I? There are far too many of your kind around lately. Cozying up to those in power by feeding them a bunch of nonsense. Liars and cheaters, all of you. You seem to have quite the chip on your shoulder about this, Mr. Yamashina. Don't know it's because of this occult craze going around, but I've seen far too many folks get taken in by that tribe. That Wakamura over on Kamoshima's one of them. Talk about a waste of potential. Wakamura? Can't say I care much about who you are anymore.
Your local cosmetologist.
Your local cosmetologist. Thank you so much for following. I hope you enjoy it here. We're playing Paranormasight. You going around with some phony psychic tells me all I need to know. Ha ha ha. How dare you? Soto, calm down. He can think what he wants. Hello. There is one thing I should warn you about. Eating the flesh of that mermaid you found won't grant you immortality. And what would you know about that? Well, you know. One hears all sorts of things in this day and age. I don't know where it came from, but there seems to be a legend that eating mermaid flesh will grant one immortality. All I wanted to say was that it's just that, a legend. It has no basis in reality at all. How can you be so sure? Just think about it. If that legend were true, wouldn't it be strange that no confirmed immortals have ever been found? Yeah? Who's to say they aren't just living and hiding? The legend of Yaobikuni is passed down in over 100 places across Japan, yet not a single verifiable immortal has ever been found to show for it. So you mean to say all those legends were fake? Please! If even just one of those tells us true, there's always a chance there's an immortal hiding away somewhere. I see. You really are quite the dreamer, aren't you? I figured you were trying to bluff me out of that mermaid cough for some time or for a reason or another. But now I'm sure of it. That thing's hiding some sort of secret, isn't it? Something you don't want me to find out. God. He's so annoying. So, you admit you have the mermaid corpse then? Oh, don't worry. We assumed as much from the start. If I'm not mistaken, the mummy was in a sort of mummified state, no? I doubt you'll be eating it as it is. Surely there's no harm in handing it over. So you can hog it for yourself? You won't fool me that easily. You don't think that a rare specimen like that ought to be placed in the care of a proper research institute? I'm saying I'll get a specialist research institute to study it. Problem solved. I suppose so. I'll make sure the mermaid gets studied properly. Don't you worry about it. By the way, you're quite well connected around these parts, if I'm not mistaken. Huh? This doesn't have anything to do with what we came here to talk about. But I was wondering if you happen to recognize the person in this sketch. It seems he lived in the Isashima area around 6 years ago. Nope, never seen him. I assume you've heard the news about the old human bones found on the seabed. This is a sketch of one of the victims from that case. You sure you have no idea who it could be? First I've heard of it actually. Got no interest in things that have nothing to do with me. Who might this Wakamura be? Wakamura? He's one of my prodigies. He's the one currently in charge over on Kamishima. Used to have high hopes for that one, but that changed when he came under the thrall of some phony sorcerer in Tokyo. A phony sorcerer in Tokyo? You heard right. Since then there's been no end to his nonsense. Buying properties out in the mountains, changing company names, all because of something the sorcerer whispered in his ear. He even told me the layout of my house was unlucky and tried to get me to renovate the place. Just recently it was going on about some curse causing a big storm. That sort of rubbish. A storm caused by a curse, you say? Even said the storm 5 years ago was caused by the same curse. He's been trying to wheedle me into helping him find some way to stop it. But I'm done with him and his ramblings. Man's clearly a lost cause. He'll be coming over here tomorrow morning, but I'm thinking it's time to have someone else take the reins over on Kamishima. I see. So even though you believe in immortality, you refuse to associate with anything to do with the occult. And you do? I figured someone claiming to be a cop would have more sense than that. How are you meant to solve crimes if criminals can just pull out curses left and right? You won't find me disagreeing there. So, what exactly has this Wakamura been saying about this curse? Hell if I remember. Why don't you go to Kamishima and ask the man yourself? Maybe we will. Thank you for the information. Is there anything you can tell us about the phony sorcerer this Wakamura is so devoted to? Wakamura went on and on about there's some big shot who appeared on television. I never heard of him. As I said, just ask him yourself. Of course, we'll be sure to do so. How about this then? If you agree to give up the mermaid, we'll tell you what we know in return. For someone who doesn't seem to believe in the occult, you seem awfully fixated on this mermaid and immortality. Which suggests to me you found something you consider quite conclusive. Puh, what are you on about now? Well, I happen to know a bit more about mermaids than most people. Ma'am, are you sure? It's fine. I had the opportunity to do some research into them a while back, you see. You don't say. And? Well, mermaids do indeed have the ability to grant a human immortality. I knew it! More precisely, individuals granted immortality in this way are known as 800-year immortals. So they have a lifespan of 800 years. That's right. As the name suggests, they gain 800 years of remaining life. During this time, they won't age a day, and even if they die, they will resurrect immediately. Sounds like a real blessing. No, I'm afraid it's anything but. One who defies the very laws of nature like that is no longer human. They're an anomalous being that should not be allowed to exist. As such, our position requires that any such individuals we find are dealt with as swiftly as possible. Indeed, this immortality, was originally a curse mermaids placed upon humans.
A curse?
Immortality is neither a blessing nor salvation for the living. It's a curse that robs them of the ability to die. None of those who have become 800-year immortals have found happiness. Not one. It renders living among other humans impossible and makes them an outcast from society. Of course, there are a few years at first when life will be tolerable. But after that, every meeting ends in parting. You outlive whomever you love or are loved by. Even if you find acceptance, it will only be for a time. You will always be shunned eventually. You'll experience this over and over for 800 years. 800 years unable to die, with loneliness as your constant companion. This is why many see no other recourse than a life of monastic seclusion, just as Yao Bikuni did.
I suppose that makes sense. Still, there will always be those who seek immortality. Always have, always will be.
You think so? I, for one, struggle to see the appeal. In any case, there are also certain conditions that must be met for this curse of immortality to be effective. Eating mermaid flesh alone isn't enough to make you an 800-year immortal.
Oh? And what exactly are these conditions?
Sorry to disappoint. I'm not aware of the specifics there myself.
Okay. Interesting.
But I can say this much at least. The mummy you have in your possession is no mermaid.
Huh? Bullshit! Ain't no way this is anything other than a mermaid.
What I mean to say is that mummy is a different being from the mermaids who wield this curse. Not all half-fish, half-human beings are mermaids, you see. In fact, calling them all by the same name is what leads to mishaps like this one.
Say what? You mean to tell me that's not a mermaid, that real mermaids are a completely separate thing?
That's right. Which is why I can say with confidence that eating its flesh won't make you immortal.
Seems like you weren't bluffing after all. So what is that thing then? There's gotta be some reason you're after it.
I imagine that even if you had it dissected and examined, all results would point to it being just a mass of fibers. In other words, nothing more than a man-made fake. There's a very good reason for that, you see. That mummy is merely the corpse of an average human, twisted beyond recognition by the curse of the forsaken fish.
What? Another curse?
Feemsh. Another curse wielded by mermaids, as it happens. That would be the remains of someone who died under it. It also happens to be the same curse responsible for the mermaids found every few hundred years or so across the country. You see now why we'd rather you handed the mermaid over to us. The poor soul deserves a proper burial, same as anyone else. Surely even you're not so hard-hearted as to deny them that.
Curses this, curses that. It's all a bunch of hokum if you ask me. That said, the report I got from the Research Institute said the exact same thing.
Oh my! I take it you already had the mermaid dissected then.
They said it was likely a fake, but asked if I wanted them to keep going anyway. I told them to keep at it, but
Hello, Symboli. It should be clear now that you have nothing to gain from researching that corpse. Least of all, information on immortality. I don't think I remember. I think I've seen your name before, though. Won't you consider handing it over? Of course, we could always take you in on charges of abandonment and desecration of a corpse.
All right, have it your way.
I am so glad you've come around. Thank you for your cooperation.
I'll give you the damn mermaid, but in exchange I want you to tell me one thing.
What is it?
You say there are real mermaids out there. Where are those real mermaids hiding then?
I suppose you could call it the Eternal World.
The Eternal World?
Yes, mermaids are not creatures of this world, you see. Their original home is Ryugu, the domain of the sea god.
Ryugu? And how do you get there?
I'm sorry to say that Oh, I see. I am sorry to say that Ryugu's doors are only open to the dead. Going there is impossible for a living human.
Ha! You could claim anything with a fairy tale like that. It all sounds like hokum.
That said, the entrance to Ryugu is said to lie somewhere in the Ise Sea. There have been numerous sightings of mermaids crossing over to this world in the area's long history. Which is why Ise Bay has its share of its mermaids legends too.
Ha! Now that you mention it, I have heard one of those stories too. Some old tale about mermaids being found on some long-lost island called Taishima or the like.
What? Wait a moment, where did you hear that story?
Aha! Caught your interest, have I? Looks like the story has some merit to it after all.
I was simply surprised, that's all. It's not a name I've come across in any historical records.
Ha! It's just something I heard from one of the young'uns I have out there looking for mermaids.
Yeah, I remember. I see. Sounds like you've got a capable young hand. I don't suppose it would be possible to meet with this individual?
Nope, not happening. Unless you're willing to spill the beans on everything you know about mermaids, every last bit of info. Maybe, just maybe, I'd consider it then. It's clear you're no ordinary housewife after all.
Ugh.
Not interested? Then this meeting is over. I'll hand the corpse over to the police as promised. But don't think I've given up on mermaids or immortality. If they really exist, I'll find them and make them mine. Ha ha ha.
It's almost 10 p.m. here. Oh my goodness. I hope you have a good rest. Curious fella. Almost 11 a.m. Oh my goodness. Hey there, you two. Sorry for calling you out here when you're so busy. I figured it'd be best to give you the rundown of our findings as soon as possible. It's no problem. Go ahead. Poster. And what do we have here? Oh, this. It's a poster advertising Kamishima. Something about it catch your eye? No. I was just thinking, surely it would be better to put it somewhere tourists will actually see it? Good point. Maybe they had some posters left over. Despite the heat, Soto looks as unruffled as ever. I do hope he isn't just pretending to be alright. Let's hear what Detective Ida has to say, but I want to talk to you. That's just a police box I was waiting at. Something you were wondering about? Oh no, I just happened to find myself looking at it, that's all. Would you rather talk inside? Though there's no air conditioner, so it's probably cooler out here. Huh, it's quite alright. Talking out here should be fine. This is one of Ise City's residential districts. Right now, the ground is so hot the air around it seems to be shimmering. Wondering about my suit, are you? It's just a cheap old thing. Sorry, I don't have anything more presentable. Oh. About Yamashina. So, did you manage to meet up with Mr. Yamashina? Yes. Thank you again for your help there. It seems he's willing to hand over the body without any fuss. Really? That's great. Still, why would some big shot tycoon go to all that trouble to withhold a body? If everything I've heard is true, you could probably take him in on charges of desecrating a corpse, you know? Or was there something special about that corpse? How observant of you, Detective. I can, of course, explain it if you'd like to know more. Wait a second. Is it related to that secret department of yours? I think I'm better off not knowing if so. Oh, really? I don't mind... words. I don't mind bringing you to the fold. Ma'am, please stop trying to rope him into helping us. I still haven't told Detective Edith that the body Yamashina recovered was a so-called mermaid. Well, it's probably better he doesn't know any more than he needs to. I've never met the guy, but I hear he's quite the cranky old geezer. How did your meeting go? I'll bet he was pretty wary of you being with the police, but he didn't try to pick a fight or anything, did he? Well, I'm not sure you could say it went smoothly, but I don't think we upset him at least. Probably. You, don't sound very sure about that. Alright, that's exactly what I wanted to talk to you about. So I got all hands on deck to go around asking about that sketch you gave me. And we finally found someone who recognized a victim. Ooh. Oh, that's great news. The person who recognized him was a housewife in her 20s who lived in Kumano 7 years ago. Apparently, the sketch looks like a 19-year-old she knew who left the village to go to the city. So 7 years ago he was 19, no? From the sounds of it, the guy had no relatives to speak of, left the village with nothing but the clothes on his back. She doesn't know what happened to him after that. I see. That would make him a young man with no relatives, who left his hometown behind 7 years ago. Did we get a name for that mystery man? Sure did. His name was Kippei Ikoma. Okay, doesn't sound familiar. Kippei Ikoma. I looked him up in the residence registry, and it does look like he moved from Kumano to Ise City 7 years ago. But it seems he doesn't live at the place he put as his address anymore. Oh, that's unfortunate. I checked in with the apartment's landlord, and it would seem that about 6 years ago, the landlord had his contract terminated after he failed to both pay his rent and return to his apartment for several months straight. The landlord didn't put out a search request or anything, so that's where the trail ends, I'm afraid. If he went missing 6 years ago, I suppose it wouldn't surprise me if those were his remains. We'll keep looking into Ikoma to see if he was involved in anything that might have led to his murder. Of course, there's always the possibility we've got the wrong guy, so we'll keep asking around just in case. Please do. The woman the woman we spoke to said that sketch was really accurate. No doubt in her mind it was Ikoma. Well, well, that accurate. Then I'm sure we got the right person. Still, how did you even make that sketch? There was nothing left of the victim but bones. Ah, well, let's just say it's classified for now. Right, guess that means I shouldn't pry any further. Oh yeah, I also looked into that lady you were asking about, Sumikawa. Oh yes, did you find anything? Well, it seems she hasn't registered as a resident even though she moved here 5 years ago. And nothing came up for Sumikawa in the civil registry either. So I'm afraid I don't have anything on who she is or where she came from. Sorry to disappoint. I see. Is that quite common? Happens. It's not unheard of for folks from the countryside to come here for work and just drift on, with no one really knowing who they are. Apparently it was really common during the post-war growth period. It seems we have quite the mystery woman on our hands. Yup, though there is something I've been wondering about. Oh, let's hear it. You have some idea who she might be? Well... yes... Wait. Wait. Minakuchi, Tosuke Minakuchi, Mari Minakuchi. It was a big maritime disaster that struck 5 years back. I have, yes. Yes? One of the victims of that disaster was an ama diver and housewife from Kamishima by the name of Mare Minakuchi. Right. I did think it looked like Mare. That's what I was saying. I did think it looked like... That's why you said check profiles. So, our mystery woman shares a surname with a maritime disaster victim. I'm impressed you managed to dig that up. Nah, I was already looking into the Kamishima disaster because of the skeletal remains, so it was a happy coincidence if anything. Oh, so you thought they might be related too? I'm glad it wasn't just me. Anyway, it seems like the bodies of those disaster victims were never found in the end, which got me thinking. Wait, are you saying... Yup. I was thinking Mari Minakuchi could have survived the disaster 5 years ago. And you think she then moved to Ichika and started going by her old name of Sumikawa again? That's right. What do you think? It seems like a long shot, but maybe? But if that's the case, why would she have stayed in Ichika for 5 whole years without thinking to contact her family? Maybe she's lost her memories in the disaster? Right. If she only had her old memories to rely on, it wouldn't be that odd if she went back to using her old name. Surely her appearance would still be the same, though. It's difficult to imagine no one recognizing her for 5 whole years. Nah, it's possible she just never ran into anyone she knew. That kind of thing's more likely than you think. Oh, speaking of appearances, I found a picture of Mare Minakuchi from a report on the disaster. I haven't met this Somakawa myself, so could you take a look for me and let me know what you think? Let's see. Yup. That is her, alright. Oh, this is interesting. What do you think, Soto? Right, she does look a lot older. But I can see some small similarities. If she'd aged 5 years and grown badly gaunt, I can certainly see how this woman might come to resemble Miss Somakawa. Hag. Okay, what I am thinking is that Mare might be a second immortal being. But if you remember the story that was told about the turtle, when the guy like opened the box at the end, his age like caught up with him. It could be something like that. My thoughts exactly. So you agree it's a pretty solid theory? It's certainly worth looking into, yes. But if she really is Mare Minakuchi, there's something... Oh, but if she really is Mare Minakuchi, there's something else that concerns me. Something else. This is just what I've heard. But it seems like the islanders over on Kamishima think this Mare Minakuchi was the cause of the disaster 5 years ago. What? Why would they think that? No idea. But it seems like it's pretty much taken for granted by most of the folks over there. Even just mentioning her name is sort of taboo. So, I was thinking it wouldn't be that odd if she felt she couldn't go back home because of that. Surely not. Seems as good a reason as any why she wouldn't want to come forward anyway. If she really is related to the storm 5 years ago, she's a point of interest regardless of her connection to the skeletal remains. Perhaps it's worth looking into that first. Can I leave talking to Miss Somakawa to you two then? We'll handle that, yes. So people believe this Mare Minakuchi called forth the curse of the raging waves 5 years ago, do they? I didn't expect the curse of the raging waves to come up here of all places. Wait. That's it, I remember now. The sole survivor of Taishima. His surname was Somakawa. His surname? His surname. Yeah, the wooden box. Yeah. Wait. Oh no, it was Urashimataro. Never mind. But the tamatebako, that's what I was talking about. A mysterious box, tamatebako. And then he opened the box. A thick white smoke engulfed him. In that instant, hundreds of years caught up with him, turning him into an old man. That makes sense. Well, that's about all I have to report. Thank you, Detective. That was very informative. As for our next move, could we ask you to keep looking into Kippei Ikoma for us? Roger that. We'll see if we can find Somakawa again and hear what she has to say. Unfortunately, it looks like our trip to Kamishima will have to wait until tomorrow. So it seems. Oh, you had business on Kamishima too? That was actually our original reason for coming here, yes? But now we've gotten caught up in all this other troublesome business, so it looks like dealing with that will have to come first. And here I was hoping to get this over with as soon as possible, so I could get back home to my husband. I see. You sure are devoted to your husband. Oh, very much. Though I do worry as he never eats properly when I'm not around. In any case, please do get in touch if you find anything else of note. Even if it's just something out of the ordinary happening, anything could be of help. Sure, will do. Though you're kind of making me worried something might actually happen now. I'd certainly prefer if it didn't. Anyway, we're counting on you, Detective. No. Bad news, ma'am. It seems we're a step too late. What do you mean? Right, we know that. It seems someone came and took that Somakawa woman out to sea just a few minutes ago. What? According to the witness, a foreign man came to the port with Miss Somakawa in tow. Foreign man. Arnav Barna? I still love that name. They then boarded a motorboat that was moored there and headed out into the bay. It didn't appear to be by force, so we can probably assume they knew each other. A foreign man? Not sure what's going on, but we should probably get a boat and follow just in case. Yes, let's see if... Soto, what's wrong? This spiritual force is overwhelming. Oh. My body won't move. What's going on? Hey, I knew it. That girl over there. Is she doing this? Circe! You can withstand this curse. You really are quite strong, mister. Sorry, but I can't let you go any further. I'll have to ask you to leave. Voithikos Noma. Guardian spirit, grant me the wisdom of the numinous. O high guiding spirit, light my path ahead. It seems likely they saved us the effort of searching for them. So it seems. Let's see if this girl can tell us what we want to know. Who are you? I could ask the same of you. What do you want with Miss Somakawa? Oh, so you know who Miss Somakawa is, do you? Maybe. What's it to you? Ma'am, this girl's spirit sense is extremely potent, but she lacks experience. She seems hesitant to employ curses against people. If I have an opening... Oh, he has a curse too. If I have an opening, I can use my curse of binding to restrain her. Usually it's too risky to use on ordinary people, but that shouldn't apply here. Alright, I certainly wouldn't mind getting some info out of her, so this is as good an opportunity as any. I'll see if I can get her to lower her guard. When she wavers, I'll signal for you to use the curse of binding. Sounds like a plan? Sounds like a plan. On your signal. Okay. A piece. Now, there's no need to be so uptight. How about we stop all this and just talk a bit?
Not happening. You're just gonna use a curse the moment I drop my focus.
Threaten. If you resist any more, we'll have you taken in for obstruction of public duties.
Wait, you're with the police?
Kind of. Nah. It's no good. She's too wary of us. It seems I'll have to press her further before she'll give us an opening. Compliment. You certainly have remarkable strength for your age. Why, it might even be too much for us.
What's with the sudden praise? You're creeping me out.
I mean... No, okay. That didn't work either. She really isn't letting her guard down. Sorry, Soto. So this is our last chance? Question. Can we assume the foreign man who took Miss Somakawa is a friend of yours, then?
So what if he is? Why are you trying to follow them?
Despite appearances, yes. Defying us could net you quite the heavy punishment.
I see. You must be from Paranormal Affairs. Then I definitely can't do what you say.
What? We'd rather not be heavy-handed about this either. Let's calm down and find some other way to resolve this,
Sorry, but that won't work on me. I'm at a rebellious age, you see.
What do you want with Miss Somakawa?
I could say the same to you. You just want the relic for yourself, don't you?
What? You know about the relic? You have quite some nerve, standing up to us despite knowing where we're from. Don't think you'll get off lightly for this.
Threatening me won't get you anywhere. You can't arrest me unless it's an emergency, right?
I don't think any of this is gonna work. I think we have to give up for now. Alright. We'll back off and leave you be. How does that sound?
You're just trying to get me to drop my guard, aren't you? Not happening.
Maybe? No. No, we can't fail here. Game over. Try again. I feel like there's something we need to know for this that we do not know yet. I think we need to go to the story chart and figure out what's up with them. What, they're in love? What? The beautiful music once again. All right. Doubt we could. Yeah, let's go to this. After much hustle and bustle, we finally managed to make our way to Ise Bay. Nice! Take it all in now. We're standing on the coast of Nakabeppo in Mie Prefecture's Kawage town. Which means this is the Sea of Ise, the connection to the eternal world. How amazing! Indeed, it is. Come, Circe. Henceforth begins our grand adventure in search of the legendary mermaids of Ise Bay. How amazing! I just can't stop saying it. Without further ado, my name is Arna Barnum, an American-born fantasy author. Please call me Avi. You know what? Maybe I need to drop the Russian accent. He said he's American. Gotta make him Texan now. Please call me Avi. Who are you introducing yourself to, weirdo? Oh, well, I simply thought a new beginning called for a little dramatic flair, you know. Sure. With that out of the way, perhaps my darling guy can provide some insight into the goings-on of this locale. Sure, I've got you covered. While this area is now called Nakabeppo, long ago it was a region of Ise province known as Betsuho. Records indicate that 3 mermaids were caught in a fisherman's net along this coast back in the Heian period. Now that's what I'm talking about. Let's hear more about those mermaids. The Steam Notifs? Wait, as in like the achievements? Or... They had human heads with the mouths of monkeys and the teeth and body of fish, and they spoke and even shed tears like humans. Could these be the fish mermaids you mentioned before, Avi? Indubitably, yeah. This must be the place. I'm getting goosebumps. Oh, friends playing stuff? Oh, it actually mentions that? Hold on. That is kind of funny. Right? I feel the same way. This is so exciting. Taira no Kiyomori's father. 3 mermaids. The endless expanse of the Ise Sea. The eternal world may lie just beyond this horizon. After all, Ise province is the land whither repair the ways from the eternal world. The eternal world is purported to be a perpetual paradise, a separate plane from the world we live in, yes? Could it be that mermaids hail from such a place? This young lady is a distant relative of mine, the daughter of the Lunar Lad family. The Lunar Lads have been in business of demonic exorcism in England for several generations now. As such, young Circe has received education on this rare subject from a young age and is now an apprentice exorcist. In order to continue her training, or more likely, simply because of her interest in the area, Circe has come to Japan to study abroad. Upon hearing such news, I sought to employ her as my guide for this mermaid hunting expedition to Ise Bay. She's apparently quite fond of Japanese myths and folk tales, and has already explored a number of areas concerned with the occult. Interested in visiting Mie Prefecture at least once during her stay, she immediately agreed to my request. Okay. Ooh, her abilities. Interesting. So she can call upon the numerous guardian spirits of the family and invoke their powers to exorcise spirits and negate certain psychic abilities. She can turn a piece of paper with an individual's name written on it into a butterfly, which will return to the individual in question. Although she doesn't have to be the one who wrote the name, it must be her who cast the spell on the paper. She can use a pendulum to search for a target based on what the user can sense of their spiritual power. The distance depends on the strength of the target's spiritual power. Sheep. Mio! Mio. Mio. We love Mio. We've come all this way to a distant foreign land seeking mermaids. Of course, I have my own reasons for trying to locate the mythical creatures. But for now, I intend to scour this land in order to learn as much as I can about its lore and legends. But it occurs to me, I never actually explained the particulars of my Isebe mermaid excursion to the girl. No matter, it's nothing of consequence really, so I'll just introduce my reasons a bit at a time. Okay. The Fiend of Ringit and the Solar Crow, Hermit's Travels, and the Bon Appetit, the Phantom Gourmand. Right. We got some weird people, once again. Kawage Town might be located right next to Mie Prefecture's modern capital, Tsu City, but there's something you have to keep in mind. This was also the birthplace of the Haika, a branch of the Heian period's preeminent Taira clan. If you're going to talk about the Ise province, then you absolutely have to mention the Haika. I do have a passing understanding of the topic. The Haika took part in the Genpei War, correct? That's right. That was the war in the Heian period where two great samurai families, the Minamoto and the Taira, locked horns and really got into it. Among the Haika, Taira no Kiyomori was a particularly famous figure who appears in many creative works concerning the event. His father, Taira no Tadamori, was the one responsible for securing the Haike's high social standing. So, Tadamori was Kiyomori's father, right? With names like that, how can anyone hope to keep them straight? That's history for you. I'm afraid you just have to memorize them. I suppose you're right on that. To memorize them I shall. Apparently, Tadamori was born in Sioux City in a place called Ubushina. Ah, so that's why they call this area the birthplace of the birthplace of the Haika. Okay. But then, would such mermaids be so easily trapped by simple fishing nets? I thought them more cunning like that. Than that, but perhaps these fish mermaids are in fact nothing more than simple sea creatures. This is the metropolitan center of the Mie, and locus of historical events. I guess that makes it the perfect place to start a new journey. Can we get back to those mermaids he mentioned? What became of the three that were caught in the fishing nets? At that time, the lord of this area was Taira no Tadamori. You didn't already forget him, did you? Well, the fisherman thought the mermaids were a fascinating find, so he placed two of them into boxes and presented them to Tadamori. Oh ho,
Lord Tatamori must have been well pleased by that. How could he not be? It was known that eating the flesh of a mermaid grants eternal life.
Actually, Tadamori evidently said they were disturbing and gross and refused to accept them.
God, what a waste!
However, the fisherman cut up the remaining mermaid and ate it himself.
So what happened to him?
Well, the fisherman said it was pretty tasty.
Well now, tasty is it?
And that's all I've got.
That's it?
That's all I could find in existing records.
Then the act of eating a mermaid's flesh alone may not produce any results. I suppose there may be other requisite conditions, wouldn't you say?
Well, considering the sheer number of eyewitness reports concerning mermaids, it is odd that there aren't more immortals walking around. There don't seem to be any records about what happened to the mermaids that Tadamori refused to accept. I suppose it's possible someone in the Hiker clan snuck off with them.
Now that's a hypothesis I can get behind.
I've put together an assortment of files concerning the Hiker, so feel free to give them a look if you're interested.
You have my heartfelt gratitude. Okay. Yeah, we sort of know this already.
Oh, there's one more thing I should warn you about, though.
Oh?
This group sometimes gets referred to as the Isatyra as well, which might make things a little confusing. I'll go ahead and label it all as Hiker.
Does it really matter? Are they basically the same thing?
Not exactly. You see, the term Isatyra refers to the Tyra clan as a whole, because it originated in Ise. On the other hand, people generally refer to the family within the clan that included Tadamori and Kiyomori as simply the Hiker. Their family features prominently in the stories we're interested in, so I'll use Hiker most of the time, plus it has a nice ring to it.
Either way works for me, so do as you like.
The tale of Hiker also used Hiker.
You're awfully particular about this, but I rather like that kind of fastidiousness.
Anyway, after a number of events, the Hiker would go on to lose the Battle of Dan-no-Ura and be completely eradicated.
Ah, I believe I know this one. Dan-no-Ura is found in Kyushu, is it not?
Bingo. The clan was chased out of Kyoto and pushed further and further west until they were eventually wiped out there.
Pains me to think such a resplendently glorious clan meeting such an ignominious end. More's the pity.
That's why the Hiker resentment is particularly strong, and many remnants of it remain even today. Shrines and monuments have even been erected throughout the land in an attempt to quell that resentment.
Oh, and now we reach your particular field of expertise.
Because the clan fell from such an exalted position so abruptly, the resentment is exceptionally persistent and quite pervasive. That said, famous places related to people like Taira no Kiyomori are well attended by worshippers.
With one P? Really? I thought it was with two P's for some reason.
So they're relatively stable. It's the puffed up and pretentious Hiker clan members that no one even remembers who caused the most trouble.
I seem to recall a number of individuals going so far as to claim that those outside of the Hiker clan could not even be considered human. But if that's the case, are we really safe here? You don't think we might find ourselves assailed by the lingering grudges?
Much of Ise province is protected by shrines, and the area is suffused with spiritual energy, so we're probably safer here than most places. But that's just the land itself. Objects or people that the resentment has seeped into are a different story altogether. That's somewhat troubling to hear. Well, either way you look at it, this region is still home to many places and things associated with the hiker. Excellent. I believe I've gotten a grasp of the situation at hand. It's time we made our way to the next locale. We're on the clock after all. Let's get to it. Well, it would seem that we've arrived. And where are we now, Circe? This is an area in Anno Town known as Kusawa. Kusawa is quite famous because of the Yaobukuni legend. I'd be surprised if there was anyone who hasn't heard of it. I'm sorry to say, I've never heard of it. Wait, really? Come now, don't act so shocked. You can't expect me to know every little thing. And besides, I'm not even from this country. The very reason I requested you to be my guide was so you could teach me about things like this. I guess that's true. Okay, I understand. I'll be counting on your explanations. Okay. Hey, I knew it. What's down there? Some sort of shrine? This shrine is apparently dedicated to Sagara no Michizane. We should go pay our respects before we leave. Ah, the fabled beauty of the serene Japanese countryside. It really is charming. Oh yeah, the incessant chirping of locusts combined with unrelenting heat. This is Japanese summer, alright. It's fascinating to think that such a peaceful place could be home to such profound historical events. I'm practically jittering with excitement. I can see that. Let's try to keep a cool head, shall we? As far as the girl's concerned, I suppose I could be considered a guardian of sorts. Even so, I often find myself caught up in her pace and completely thrown off guard. If anyone should be shaking things up around here, it ought to be me. If Yaobukuni really did exist, I wonder what sort of life she led. I can't begin to imagine what it would be like to live for hundreds of years. Well, it might not have a direct connection, but there is something one should always consider when discussing Ise. The Tales of Ise, have you heard of it? It's the oldest extant collection of Japanese verse compiled sometime during the Heian period. I'm afraid I'm not familiar with it. But I have heard the tale of Genji and the tale of Haika. Is it anything like those? Well, those were also stories written during the Heian period, but that's where the similarities end. Nice try, though. A rump? Well, they sound similar enough anyway. Don't worry, I'm not an expert on the subject either. Basically, this collection of verse elaborates on a number of waka poems by giving accounts of the events surrounding each one. The entire collection of 125 passages is referred to as the Tales of Ise. That's easy enough to remember now. The Tales of Ise is a collection of short stories, check. One more thing. The title might be the Tales of Ise, but the content isn't all that focused on the actual area. What's this now? Are they intentionally intending to confuse and bewilder us? Some believe the title comes from the fact that passage 69, nice, is set in Ise province. At any rate, I just thought I should bring it up because it does have at least a slight bearing on the topic at hand. If you're keen to learn more, I'll add more detailed information to the files. Why, thank you. I'll be sure to read through them later. Okay. Long ago there was a man. I feel like that sounds familiar. Okay, by the way, I am reading through this. I am not skipping these. I am just reading through this by myself. Interesting. There is one other thing we can learn from the Tales of Ise. Adding the tale of to a book title really classes things up. You should keep it in mind. It was apparently all the rage during the Heian period. Oh, I couldn't agree more. My next work is certainly gonna be a tale of. The legend of Yaobukuni originated here in Kusawa, Ano town. Long, long ago, a 17-year-old girl named Osato lived in this village. She unknowingly ingested the meat of a mermaid that was served during a village gathering and became immortal. After subsequently being persecuted by the other villagers, she became a nun and made a pilgrimage around the entire country. At the end of the story, she eventually returned to the village and lived out the rest of a very long life. Tales told in other parts of the country play out in almost exactly the same fashion. Yeah, I guess that's true. Osato, which is the Sato we know. Flexing my voice acting skills. You know it. The legend of Yaobukuni, the girl who ate the flesh of a mermaid and lived for 800 years, has been passed down all over Japan. Not only here in Mie Prefecture's Ano town, but in Fukui, Aichi, and Gifu prefectures as well. In total, the story has been found in 121 locations in 28 prefectures throughout the country, or at least that's what certain research has indicated. Doesn't that seem like a lot? Were there really that many different Yaobukunis out there? Obviously, not all the legends can be true. But I actually have a theory on the subject. Would you like to hear it? By all means. Most of the legends refer to a woman who stopped aging and lived for 800 years after consuming the meat of a mermaid. At that point, because others would find it strange she wasn't getting any older, she wasn't able to live in normal society anymore. I suppose that would be natural. It would explain why she withdrew from the world and became a nun.
Exactly. And that's how she got the name Yabukuni, the 800 years old Bikuni nun. With 800 years on her hands, she could have easily made a pilgrimage around the entire country.
How interesting. Buddhist priests are known for trekking throughout the land as a form of ascetic training.
And if we consider the 128 locations where the legend was found, with 800 years to spare, she could have spent 6 years in each location. 6 years would certainly be enough time for her to make a name for herself in each and every location, right?
Ho ho! Oh my dear, I believe I see what you're getting at. Your theory posits that the stories of Yabukuni that have been passed down in every corner of the country all refer to this same individual.
Well, it might be a bit much to say that all of them are the same. There may have been a few different people. But it's more convincing than the theory that there were 121 people. I also think the Yabukuni of Wakasa province is most likely the origin of the legend.
I wonder. Don't all of the different instances of the story throughout Japan also claim that particular location as her place of final rest?
That may be true, but I assume that each of those different places wanted to have a grave or some other tangible marker to base the legend on. But with so many people that are purported to have lived for over 800 years, all die around the same time, it seems pretty unlikely.
Then you believe some of the tales were embellished somewhat?
That sort of thing happens all the time. Legends are always mixtures of truth and fantasy. Moreover, it doesn't make sense that every single immortal would decide to become a nun. There were likely some places that simply believed Yabukuni was the term for an immortal.
Rather than a nun, for all we know, she said, I'ma be none of that. And decided to become an armor diver. Badumts!
That's actually pretty insightful. Many legends are based on simple semantic misunderstandings.
Now wait just a minute. I won't stand here and let my dumb joke actually become a salient point of discussion.
Let's drop it then.
But still, if one were to somehow live for 800 years, a person that became immortal after the Kamakura period could still be alive today.
True, and if so, I'd love to sit them down for a long chat.
If Yabukuni really did exist, I wonder what sort of life she led. I can't begin to imagine it would be like to live for hundreds of years. Can Kuwasawa's legend of Yabukuni really be true? There must be falsehoods and fictions mixed into the tale, surely.
Who knows? Ise province isn't that far from Wakasa province after all. She may have simply walked here from there. The fact that the stories from each different area are so similar does make me wonder if they didn't get mixed together somehow.
Ah, you think the legend may be an amalgamation of stories from various locations?
Exactly. But then again, the immortal in the story from this location has her own name, which gives the legend a certain verisimilitude. The fuck?
Indeed it does.
I guess we can assume that a girl with that name really did live here long ago. Then something must have happened to make people believe she had become immortal. It's reasonable to assume her story then got mixed up with various legends of Yabukuni from around the country before being passed down.
Of course, the exact timing of these events is still unclear, but that does present an interesting possibility. She could very well still be living in this village. Wouldn't that be a compelling development? Leave it to an occult writer to think up something like that.
That's right. You're seeing the prodigious imaginative power of a fantasy author in action.
Yes, it really is something. But the fact of the matter is that almost no traces of Yaobakuni remain in this village. Even a grave, which is referred to as Lady Yao's tomb, has never been located.
But then, did we come all this way for nothing? Well then, I suppose that brings this particular subject to a close. On to the next. No rest for the wicked, I say. Time to tackle the next mermaid myth.
Sure.
And here we find our next subject of inquiry. What place might this be, my dear?
This is Futami Gouda. The coastline it lies beside Futami town is just over from Ise City.
Ah, then we finally penetrated the outskirts of Ise City proper. Things are certainly beginning to heat up. I inferred that Ise City was the prefectural capital from the fact that Mia Prefecture was once known as Ise Province. Not bad, eh?
Well, I can understand how you would arrive at that conclusion. But the truth is, Mia Prefecture is composed of 4 separate provinces: Ise, Shima, Iga, and Ki.
Oh, is that so?
But that doesn't change the fact that Ise City is regarded as the spiritual capital of Japan, making it a very important location.
Very interesting. But the sun has already begun its steady descent, so perhaps we should pick up the pace a bit. Damn it, no bird. Of course, I have my own reason for trying to locate the mythical creatures. But for now, I intend to scour this land in order to learn as much as I can about its lore and legends. As far as the girl's concerned, I suppose I could be considered a guardian. Oh, okay, it's the same thing. Oh, there's no, like, check mark? Okay. Oh, speaking of which, this is entirely unrelated, but there's something I've been wondering. Do you mind?
What? But our conversation was just getting good.
Protest all you like, but I shall ask anyway. On our way here, I noticed a certain something adorning the entrances to everyone's houses. What was that?
Oh, right. Those are Somin Shorai talismans.
Somin Shorai?
Yes. Although, in most of Japan, they're usually only hung up around the New Year, but here in the Ise Tobashima region, they're traditionally left up all year long.
Interesting.
I can add more detailed info to the files for you later.
Okay. Type of talisman, Somishorai, meaning descendant of Somishorai. Come in a variety of forms: paper slips, wooden tacks, hexagonal wooden charms, hoops made of entwined miscanthus reeds, or sacred ropes used for ritual purification. They're generally placed at doorways for sound health and ward off illness. Most families in Japan only put them up during New Year. In Iseshima, they're kept up the whole year round. The deity Gozu Tenmo set out to court the princess of Ryugu. So, Ohime, her name was, I think. Kotan Shorai, turn him away. Somin Shorai. Okay, interesting.
Alright. Oh. I was like, I'm gonna head out, but she's not done yet. Ah. What is it? What is it? Now you're making me antsy. Oh, okay. Well, cliffhanger time. All right. Very good, very good. A lot happened this time around. I should be playing this again Saturday. Wednesday I am playing more Nausea with Lana. So, yeah. For now, that is it though. That was a good stream. That was really good. All right, here is the Discord, raid, emojis, and let me see who I can raid. Also, I totally forgot to run ads. Oh boy, I hope you guys didn't get some ads like randomly in between. Let me just run a quick 30-second ad now. Oh, I see that Zero's Ocean is live. So let's go and rate Zero, because Zero rated me yesterday, so it's only fair. Bye, everyone! I hope you have a good one, and of course, as always, you better stay cozy. I'm gonna grab some lunch, and yeah. Okay,